क्या चल रहा है पब्लिक? वेलकम बैक टू 12 यार्ड्स पनेनका। और आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट हैं, मोजेस फ्रॉम नागालैंड, जो कि इट्स बट ऑब्वियस उनके पीछे जर्सीज लगी देखे आप अपने समझ ही गए होंगे कि वो लिवरपूल के डाई हार्ट फैन है। और जो हमारा आज का टॉपिक भी रहेगा वो लिवरपूल सेंट्रिक रहेगा। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं मोजेस को इनवाइट करता हूँ कि you're most welcome here and the stage is yours. Introduce yourself and tell us more about yourself, how you fell in love with Liverpool and how your journey have been so far.
Hello, thank you for giving me this time. Rohit, Abhishek, and Aku. 12 Pananga yard. So 12 yard Pananga, right? So thank you for this time again. As I've been already introduced, my name is Moses. I am from Nagaland. I am now currently working as a journalist for one local newspaper and one local news TV channel. Now, when I speak about Liverpool, it goes way back to 1997, 98, and I was very young, and I didn't even understand what football is and how a fan supports one club. So ऐसे कुछ शुरू हुआ था फुटबॉल देखने के लिए, and then घर में टीवी भी इतना खासा अच्छा नहीं था, and वो कुछ केबल भी नहीं था घर में. So I used to go to watch on a cable station with a friend of mine. And at that time, I saw Newcastle was very strong during that time, Newcastle, and then I fell in love with football right away. The way they used to play football, because यहाँ local ground में भी हमारा football चलता था, tournament और वगैरह कुछ कुछ. But the level of play that I saw on the TV was great. So I started watching like that, 97, 98, and then I don't even remember the season and everything. And then slowly I saw Terry Henry, Arsenal, and then but somehow I saw that the whole red jersey from the top to the bottom, the red stockings, red half pants shorts, red jersey, and then uh, I I remember watching Gerard, and I don't know why, but the way he used to encourage his friends, his teammates, and then the way he used to score the goals, those thundering long shot goals, and his vocal, like the way he used to gather his friends, his teammates. So I didn't know much about the history of Liverpool at that time, but I just liked the way they used to play, the bunch of players, and I didn't get the taste of this Liverpool group in any other team. So I knew Beckham, and I liked Beckham as a player, but I never shifted to other club. I just focused on my team, the Liverpool. So the moment I really fell in love with my club, I think it was 2005, that Istanbul. It changed me. It made me a believer as a football fan, to keep believing in your team no matter what happens. You just go and cheer in your team. So we all know the history of how Liverpool won the Istanbul, that Champions League. So I will not go much into details. So that's how I fell in love with Liverpool, and slowly I got in touch with the history. 1892, that the thing, and then the Hillsborough disaster, that one, and then the men behind the club, and then I read the story of how Liverpool were so fierce in the European League, Kenny Dalglish, Roger Hahn, etc., etc. So I went into biodata mode, checking every player one by one, into Wikipedia, into Google, and everything, watching pictures, going to YouTube, watching
Watching
the
old
videos.
videos, yeah.
YouTube old videos, even in the black and whites. So that is how I fell in love, and I'm still, I don't think I will ever leave Liverpool.
So how was your how were your emotions and how was your reaction when you went through all the drought and all the bumps and hurdles? और उसके बाद लिवरपूल ने जो 19 आई थिंक 1920 सीजन था ना, जो लिवरपूल ने अगेन प्रीमियर लीग
Yes,
जीता.
yes,
तो व्हाट वर यू डूइंग एट दैट टाइम, और उस समय आप क्या कर रहे थे जब आपके पास न्यूज़ आया ये, और क्या रिएक्शन था आपका, क्या रॉ रिएक्शन था, मुझे उसके बारे में बताएं.
So Pele, before we got that title, that most elite title for our club, we had some rough patches, and it was so tough to support Liverpool during that time, and I was still in college when when that happened. I, week in, week out, I'm supporting my club, and then the results are just so low. Not only the results were low, the performance of the players on the pitch, and I didn't even like the some of the managers of our club. I'm not going to mention them, but the philosophy behind the way you used to gather the player to play, tactics, formations, the science that goes into the play. I dislike it. It became boring for me at one time, and then
Yeah.
I thought maybe this is where we as a Liverpool go down, and then maybe we will not come back. That's the extent that I went as a fan. But like I
Oh,
said before, I didn't want to quit on my club. So in front of my friends, we all know how our friends taunt us when our own club goes into rough patch.
I've done that. I know that
we are
how it
Yeah.
going
feels.
through that phase now.
We are going through
We are
that
going
phase
through
now.
it.
So I don't taunt my opponents, my opponent fans, because I know how much it hurts to see your club failing week in week out, getting the same results.
Mm.
So I just support my club. I don't talk about my other opponent like Manchester and Liverpool. They are the top rival in the English Premier League. But like I said, when 1920 season came, and then I wanted to see the celebrations of the fans, the real the people in Anfield, the people there in England. I wanted to see their in the stadium. I wanted to see the fans in the stadium because we have been waiting for it for so long. And for me personally, I was in my own room watching on my television, and I remember I screamed. It was midnight, but I screamed. It was night. I was screaming alone, and then I ran out of my room, and then I was filled with emotion. I want to tell people, but here not many people are like crazy about Liverpool like me here. So I just I just continued with myself, and then no, it was a great season, and I always go back to that season to watch again any
I,
clips of
I, I still
them.
remember a match. Steven Gerrard. I guess it was West Ham Liverpool. It was some cup match. उसमें Steven Gerrard, because of his, they went to
No, no,
penalties and
no,
there was a
no. It
comeback.
was it.
It was a
Which
league, I
game are you
think.
talking about?
The
I
match
think it
with
was a cup match.
Where he
It
had the
was
famous slip?
that. Are you talking about the slip?
Yeah, that happened against Chelsea.
It was against
13-14
Chelsea.
हाँ,
season. I
Mhm.
that like मैंने जब से फुटबॉल देखना चालू करा मेरे वन ऑफ द फेवरेट सीजन्स में से है वो 13-14 सीजन जब ब्रेंडन रॉजर्स
13,
थे
14.
Ah, yeah.
और द
Liverpool के.
रीजन आई लाइक वो सीजन क्योंकि चेल्सी आर्सेनल लिवरपूल और सिटी के बीच में इतना कंपटीशन चल रहा था और एवरी वीक जो इन दोनों के टेबल्स है वो टर्न हो रहा था मतलब एवरी वीक हर घंटे में हर गेम के बाद कभी कोई फर्स्ट पे कभी कोई सेकंड पे कभी कोई थर्ड पे और वो जो फेमस स्लिप था जेरार्ड का वो वन पे चल रहे थे तब लिवरपूल फिर डेम्बा बा ने बॉल लेके आई नो इट्स स्टिल हर्टिंग यू ही स्कोर्ड दैट गोल सो दैट वाज
Ah, that was
painful
heart
yet
wrenching.
iconic.
Heart wrenching. Because just prior to that match, Gerard was calling his teammates gathering around him after the match, and then he was shouting, "No, we've got this. This is us." And then for the next match, he sleeps, and everything goes away. Ah, it hurts.
But Steven Gerrard was I guess Liverpool के one of the best captains में से एक है. I was a Man United fan, but I still love that guy. उसकी जो dedication और desperation होती थी, uh,
Mm.
it never went unappreciated. हमेशा I used to look at him and I used to like him personally. He was my favorite player in Liverpool.
Mhm.
उस time पे, just not because of the game exactly. There were better players than him, but his dedication और जो उसकी पूरी तरीके से मतलब he was inspired and he was an inspiration to a lot of even I guess अभी के Liverpool players, they
Uh-huh.
look up to him, a lot of them.
Not only players, I think even for the fans, जो हमारे
Fans.
generation है अभी, because they don't
Hmm.
remember Douglas or Roger Han and then all the other players, older players, but
Hmm.
uh, our age fans, they have supported Liverpool only because of Gerrard. Like you guys have said, his leadership, his dedication towards the club, to remain in the same club, And he even says that if I die, bring me to Anfield. I want to be dead. I want to be buried here, like that. No, that kind of emotions
Yep.
that he brings to the fans, to the club. So he was a perfect leader. And then I I think if I speak about Steven Gerrard as one of
Steven
the
Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard as one of the greatest Liverpool captains, and it was a huge shoes for Jordan Henderson to fill, and I'm quite happy that Henderson is living up to the name of Liverpool captain so far. So
Even though
yeah,
he didn't win much, but still, I think he was a wonderful guy, wonderful captain, uh,
mm,
Yeah,
someone
he
to
won
look
the
up to.
UCL. That was, I think, that's a big trophy. And जो
Okay.
एक reason था, मैं मतलब as a child मैं देखता था, मैं चाहता था लिवरपूल जीते, that was Steven Gerrard, because I've always adored him as a captain, as a man, as a football player. So I wanted Liverpool to win, just because of Steven Gerrard.
yeah.
So
So let's,
anyways, guys,
guys.
थोड़ा आगे बढ़ते हैं
Yeah.
अपने questions के लिए. So Rohit bhai, do you have any questions for our friend Moses?
Yes, Moses, I would like to know the how Liverpool functions, their administrative structures and all. Who is their owner and all, everything.
Now Liverpool is owned by one group, that is Fenway Sports Group, FSG, and then the owner is John W. Henry. He's an American, and he also owns that Boston Red Sox. Now, if you go into the club, the recruitments and everything, who handles sports director Michael Edwards. He is the one behind all the signing that goes into our club, and uh, basically it's between him and Henry, whatever things that goes in the club. And I'm sure that even club is not aware of what's happening in the office, what's happening between Henry and Edwards. So
Okay.
that's how that's how I think the Liverpool club is functioning.
Okay.
So they have a good this thing director of
Sports
football.
director, Michael Edwards.
Sure. Okay. So my question to you is, I know it's not one of the best player. It's not about one of the best player, but I've seen Naby Keita scoring two great goals, two
Mm, mm,
screamers. So
mm,
I just want to know, because he's not someone, ये एक ऐसा player नहीं है जो बहुत ज़्यादा खेलता है team में. He's probably a substitute player that comes probably after 50, 60 minutes. So do you think, I really like this player. Do you think he has a future at Liverpool, or he's going to be वही super sub या ऐसा कुछ?
mm. I wish he has a future in Liverpool. I wish, and because we brought him as a replacement for Coutinho, and Coutinho left, and then we thought that I thought that Naby Keita was a good replacement or was a good option for any team in the Premier League. I thought that when I watched him in his previous club, I saw him in scoring good goals,
Good
giving,
goals.
assisting, creating chances for his teammates. So I was very excited for him to see that one of the good players is coming to our club. And sad to say that injuries has plagued him, and the intensity of the Premier League has got to him, and he's unable to, his physicality doesn't match in the Premier League. And I wish that he makes. See, last week, I thought that he's injured and he met the team and he came in, and then okay, it was a glimmer of hope for me that अच्छा अभी तो वो थोड़ा मजबूत हो रहा है, he can take the pen and he can come in, he's playing with the pen, no? And just few minutes later he's gone back again. So I think Liverpool wants to keep him. Fans like him, fans love him. We want to keep him as a Liverpool player for as long as possible. But for him, if he wants to continue playing, I think he should look for other club. I don't dislike him. I love him as a player, but Liverpool is not for him. The way the things are going right now, because injury after injury, I don't think he can go on like that in our club.
हाँ, बड़े बड़े प्लेयर्स को इंजरी ने बर्बाद किया है. मार्को रूएस, डेम्बेले, और कई ऐसे प्लेयर्स रहे हैं, तो दैट इज इंजरी से कोई लड़ नहीं पाया है. आई होप दिस डजंट हैपन. और जो दूसरा क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ वो है इज अबाउट योर मैनेजर क्लॉप. Where do you see him in the next 5 years in regards to Liverpool? Do you think, क्योंकि कई बार मैंने सुना है कि sometimes he goes a little अलग from the board, और board इसकी उसकी इन्वॉल्वमेंट काफी, जैसा कि आपने कहा, क्लब एक्शंस में इतनी उसकी वो नहीं होती है इन्वॉल्वमेंट. तो I want to know about that.
Firstly, if we look at Klopp, and if you look at Klopp as a person first, not as a manager of the Liverpool club, I think he is a great person. He is a good-natured person, and then the way he speaks from his heart every time.
He's a
Whether
likable personality.
he's
Exactly.
yes, very likable personality, and then even the opponent team managers, players like him a lot. That's what I've heard on interviews. So if you look at his personality, I think it's very easy for any club to have him, and it's very easy for any players to play for him. So Liverpool as a team, as a club, I don't think that Liverpool would want to let him go away. And I've never heard or seen any videos where Klopp has, said something about leaving Liverpool. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to stay there as long as he doesn't get very old, and as long as he is unable to go on with the same energy. And I think if he leaves, he might not want to manage any other team in Premier League. Even if he leaves, he might go back to Mainz, or he might go back to other leagues. But even if he leaves, he might not stay in Premier League. But I'm sure that in the next 5 years he's still in Liverpool.
Let's hope he doesn't leave, of course.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So Rohit bhai, you had a question.
My question would be some bit different. I'm going back actually.
Okay.
The thing is this, I want to ask you, Mose, why it is so tough for all the teams across the Europe as well as in English Premier League to play on Anfield Turf.
Okay. Anfield atmosphere, that's what everyone is talking about when they come to Anfield. I wish I was there live as a person to witness all the emotions that goes
The
through.
vibe, the energy, it's something
Yeah,
different.
everything. And we cannot justify it by watching on television, and we cannot say that, oh, I think it might be that reason, that's why the players are being intimidated, and we cannot say. But
never
one
walk
thing,
alone.
There's something
You never walk alone song.
you have to feel rather than
yeah,
just
that's what. Of
But,
course, we feel the vibe even through the television, but to be there live as a person, to experience everything, I think it's different. But one thing I can say is that whenever we sing our anthem, it echoes everywhere. It echoes throughout Liverpool, and then the fans sing it from their heart, and all the banners, the flags around the cop end, around the when you look at the cop end, when the anthem is being sung at the start of every match, you will not see a single person not belting out from their heart. They are belting out from their heart, and then जो बैनर रहता है वहाँ पे जो फ्लैग रहता है, इतना बड़ा बड़ा फ्लैग, इतना बड़ा बड़ा बैनर. And I'm sure as a player going to Liverpool, if you're standing there and then you're looking at the fans screaming and singing out from the heart, and then the huge banners, जो ब्लेयर का चेहरा वहाँ पे printed है, और all these things, no, I'm sure everyone will get intimidated. And I think that's one. It is Anfield, it is the stadium, but it's the fans that makes the players intimidated.
very
True.
true, very true.
Very good.
Okay. So another question that I have is about Liverpool being so different in these couple of years. What is that you think Liverpool has that is different from other teams? क्योंकि प्रीमियर लीग एक ऐसी स्टेज है जहाँ पे छोटी छोटी टीम्स, जैसा कि हम हमेशा से कहते आए हैं, छोटी टीम बड़ी टीम को इतने इजीली बीट कर देती है, बट of course Manchester City has also been managing कुछ ऐसा कर पा रहे हैं, and again at the same time Liverpool भी ऐसा कर पा रहे हैं that they don't choke. होता है कभी once in a while कि वो हार जाते हैं बड़ी टीम से, but again what is different that Liverpool is doing जो कि that makes Liverpool different than other Premier League teams, because they don't choke that much, they usually win.
Yeah, I think it has to do with Klopp, our manager.
Management.
I think the players go out to the field like,
Hmm.
let's do this for our club, let's do this for our fans. But most importantly, I think let's do it for our manager. Let's do it for Klopp, because he has bring in so much for us. Yeah, he has brought the foundation of Liverpool back. Because Liverpool, as we know, if you look in the 70s, 80s era, they were dominant in Europe. And then we lost the touch. And 2005 एक बार हुआ था, उसके बाद हमारा जो हिस्ट्री देखा जाए तो प्रीमियर लीग टाइटल नहीं है, यूरोप लीग में इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहा है. Even in the domestic league also we were not performing very well. But once Klopp came, he brought that, that
Energy.
from doubters to believers. That's what he said in the second day of the interview.
काफी मन्नतों से
बाद में
मांगा है
he was-
मतलब अपने क्लब
Yeah.
को.
And उसके बाद the way Liverpool was playing their heavy metal football, जो कि
Heavy
Jürgen
metal.
it's beautiful to watch. Even as a neutral fan, it is beautiful to watch.
Yes. Geken pressing every players, 3 or 4 players rushing into one player, and then they have the stamina to rush back again. So I think it took more than 4 years for Klopp to settle in his philosophy.
Yeah, I think जब ये आए थे क्लॉप, तो मैं उनकी वो पुरानी क्लिप देख रहा था, तो आते जो उनकी प्रेस थी तो उसने बोला कि उनकी जो आइडियोलॉजी, उनकी जो सोच है, it's gonna take time, and he said it's not gonna take 10 years or 20 years. Give me 1 season, 2 season, 3 season, 4 season, then you will judge me. That's what he said.
Wonderful.
It's gonna take time.
So that's
he sold his one of the best players, Coutinho, for a hefty price, and bought 2 amazing world-class players. I think he bought Alisson and Van Dijk with that money, and then he built a brand new team, and they became unstoppable in no time.
Yeah.
So that's my next question, Moses. How many quick fixes you think Liverpool had to go through to be here? मतलब कितने quick fixes उन्होंने छोटे-छोटे temporary manager, ब्रेंडन रॉजर्स भी उनमें से एक रहे हैं कभी ना कभी, तो कितने मैनेजर्स चेंज करने के बाद आपको लगा कि हाँ भाई यही वो, क्योंकि अगेन क्लॉप ने टाइम लिया अपना, एंड देन ही स्टार्टेड परफॉर्मिंग आफ्टर अ व्हाइल, तो ही कुड हैव बीन सैक्ड एट सम पॉइंट क्योंकि इट वाजंट परफेक्ट. So what do you think about that?
Before Klopp, we had Roy Hodgson, and then we had Kenny Dalglish, we had Brendan Rodgers, and among these 3, I like the way Brendan Rodgers played football. He made the players play football, and then we had hope in him. But besides him, Roy Hodgson's football was boring. I still think his way of playing football is boring. And yeah.
Old school.
Old school, but still, yeah. For some,
you have to respect him. I mean, there is
Respect his age.
yeah, these things, like, we all know in our heart is kind of boring, but we don't say it out loud because we have that reverence.
Because he has that chache vibes. Chache को respect.
थोड़ा हो गए रस्टी से, but still we don't say that out loud. Yeah.
Elderly person है.
Yeah, I respect him because I think he is one of the longest serving coaches in the world, and then he left with so much respect from the players and coaches around the world. But as a Liverpool coach, when he was around, he made some signings that I didn't like, and then not only me but most of the fans of the club, signings that were flop in our club. And then he brought in players. Of course, every managers bring in players according to how they want to play football, according to their philosophy, but it didn't work for him. Sadly, it didn't work for him in our club. So, and then Kenny Dalglish was brought in because he is a club icon. He is a legend in our club. So he brought that energy back to the club. And then we एज ए फैन लग रहा था कि हो जाएगा अभी केनी डगलिश है पहले भी उसने ऐसे किया था as a player and coach he managed the club and then we got some trophies with his management and then we brought him again. Sadly for him, unlucky for us, it didn't work out. So now again, if you look look into Klopp's era again, like Abhishek has said, it didn't take him 1 season, 2 season to bring the Liverpool to the place it is now. It is being at now. अभी जो लिवरपूल है उसको टाइम लगा था ऐसा to come up to
Almost
this
4 seasons.
over more than 4 seasons. Yes. So now again, if you look at his management, last season he had the starting 5 and starting 5 के
6.
बाद जो बेंच में था डिफेंस कितना भी था सब इंजर भी था and then he brought in academy players like Reece Williams, Nat Phillips, and then they become a household name. These academy players become a household name in
Curtis
the,
Jones.
yeah, Curtis Jones again, and then so there were so many like you know fixes that he had to do even last season also. So I think now FSG के आने के बाद that after the took over of the club by FSG, there have been significant changes, and one of the best signing that FSG has ever done is signing Klopp. So I think that's how Liverpool has come up
So
so
that's
far.
also on the board. Board is also equally. They are also to give the credit to. They have also done. Yeah. ठीक है.
Yes, yes.
और आई थिंक जो वो फेस था क्लब से पहले वाला जब लिवरपूल फैंस आर वेरी वोकल वेरी प्राउड एंड यू नो वेरी एनिग्मेटिक सो दे ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू लाइक दे हैड दिस बिलीफ ऑफ next year is going to be ours next year is going to be ours उस समय मेन्यू फैंस ने न्यूट्रल फैंस ने जो कि पसंद नहीं करते लिवरपूल में they started making fun of लिवरपूल फैंस कि ये हर साल एक ही चीज रिपीट पे होता है कि भाई अगला सीजन हमारा
तो अभी मेन्यू फैंस कर रहे हैं.
इवन जो साल वो जीते भी थे 1920 सीजन उसमें जब वो ऑलमोस्ट मतलब क्लियर था डेफिनेट था कि वो जीतने वाला है एकदम से पैंडेमिक लग गया फुटबॉल बंद और सब लोग वाज लाइक ओ मैन इज दिस रियली हैपनिंग फिर फाइनली फुटबॉल रिज्यूम हमें लग रहा था शायद नल कर देंगे वो वाला सीजन बट फाइनली फुटबॉल रिज्यूम हुआ और लिवरपूल गॉट व्हाट दे डिजर्व्ड.
रोहित भाई को बहुत दुख हुआ था उस सीजन तो
मैंने तो हंसी भी बहुत उड़ाई थी कि
उसके बाद जो
वापस भी हो जाए नल हो जाए
बेचारे 30 साल बाद जीतने वाले थे और फिर से फुटबॉल ही बंद.
Yeah, that's true. डर लग रहा था ना कि पैंडेमिक की वजह से ये सीजन बंद हो जाएगा and then the only chance that we are getting after so many years that we are going to throw it away.
but I really consider you guys not exactly lucky but ऐसा लगता है मन्नतें मांगी हैं आपने क्लब को पाने के लिए जो कि शायद अब स्पर्स और मैन यूनाइटेड जैसे क्लब्स करेंगे कि ऐसा कोई मैनेजर मिल जाए या फिर सोल्शायर बन जाए तो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो कि बहुत जैसे अब टूखेल मुझे ऐसा फील होता है जो चेल्सी में है वो ही इज द नेक्स्ट बिग वो मैनेजर जो कि आने वाले टाइम में विल टॉक अबाउट हिम ऑलरेडी यूसीएल जिताया उन्होंने बट क्लॉप ही इज अ डिफरेंट पर्सन ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट वे ही लव्स हिज प्लेयर्स उसके प्लेयर ऐसे करते हैं फादर सन जैसे एक बच्चा अपने बाप से मिल रहा है एंड ही इज अ बहुत ही हैप्पी अभी ऐसा कुछ हुआ था कि एक मेन्यू के फैन ने कुछ ऐसा लेटर भेजा था उसको तो देयर वाज समथिंग लाइक दैट ही डिड अ रियली ही शोड अ रियली गुड जेस्चर सो ऑल टुगेदर बहुत अच्छा इंसान भी है वो तो आई एम सेइंग लाइक यू गाइस आर लकी एंड आई विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट
I would like to add one more thing इसमें कि जब आई थिंक लिवरपूल ज्वाइन करने से पहले भी और लिवरपूल ज्वाइन करने के आई थिंक 1-2 सीजन बाद भी क्लॉप की हिस्ट्री रही है ऑफ लूजिंग फाइनल्स टू बायर्न म्यूनिख आई थिंक वो एक यूरोपा फाइनल भी हारे थे मेरे ख्याल से यूरोपा तो उसके बाद लग रहा था कि यार ही इज कुछ जिंक्स है या कुछ ऐसा है कि ही इज वेरी गुड things are working things are oiling well but uske baad bhi they never managed to. He never managed to pull off a big title, but वो सारा jinx भी end हुआ लिवरपूल का भी और क्लॉप का भी. So it has been a roller coaster ride. Anyways, let's move on to next questions if you guys have any.
I would like to ask you one thing about this. That between this Firmino or Jota, who will you choose?
As a player for the same
Yeah,
position,
No, currently,
same
currently.
position, current
Mm.
position.
same
और
position.
करंट
At
सिनेरियो के हिसाब से
current
not
scenario, current scenario.
द करंट टीम उसके
Current
हिसाब से
team.
सब चीजें कंसिडर करते हुए
सब कंसिडर करके अगर देखा जाए तो उस पोजीशन के लिए किसको तुम प्रेफर करोगे?
I would prefer Firmino over Jota anytime, any season.
Yeah,
Yeah, because when you have a fit Firmino, the Liverpool team functions very well. The play is smooth. Of course, Jota scores more goal. His percentage is better than Firmino's goal scoring percentage.
But
But
the chances I think he creates in the midfield, the way he drops as a number 9, he almost plays as a number 10. I always say this. He's a
नंबर
number
10
because he plays in the midfield. If you look at his heat map, he plays.
Klopp has also said that if you look at Firmino, and then he has really defined the role of false nine formation. He drops deep into the midfield. Sometimes you will also see him making challenges in our own boxes, in our own defense area, and in the next play you will see him running up to the forward line and then assisting the two wingers to out forwards. So he is like the number 10. He's like the number 10, but on the paper he is number 9. So I like Jota. He can be used as an out and out striker anytime, and he can, whenever you are in a crunch situation, and then when you see that Firmino is being hustled by other opponents, and when the opponents identify that Firmino is the one who is doing all the magic in the field, I'm sure that the manager will, tell his players to target Firmino. And when that happens, he can be subbed. He can be subbed by using Jota, and Jota can run in the middle. He can head the ball. He can kick with both the feet very nicely.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he can also go to the left side of Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane can come to the number 9 position, and then that's I think in some of the matches we have seen that Klopp has made so many changes where these things have happened in the past, and then Firmino being out now for some time, and then I see Jota getting more chances, and then he will score more goals. But when Firmino is fit, Klopp will still use Firmino.
Klopp is a big fan of Firmino, I would say.
Yeah.
So just a quick question. You would not get any time to think. You just have to respond. Okay.
All right.
Out of the front three, Salah, Mane, and Firmino, which one is your favorite, and why?
Salah.
And why?
Salah, the time he does magic, some of the time he does magic, it's unbelievable that you are seeing it. A human being can do such things in such a manner of in such a level of competition, tough competition.
Yeah.
I like Salah. I like Salah for his personality, for him as a person, as a player, his hard work ethic, everything. There's nothing you can see in Salah that you won't dislike.
Yeah.
He's got 16 goals already. He's been involved into 16 goals. 16 goals.
We'll come on to that one. We'll come on to Salah as well. Like we have few questions left. So the next one is how do you see Liverpool this season? Where do you want to finish in this season? What's your goals and objective for this season? As a fan, as a Liverpool fan.
As a Liverpool fan, I want us Liverpool to,
like, what's realistic you see, like this team
realistically
can achieve this.
Yeah. Now, Premier League is very tough, and then the way Chelsea is going, I wish Chelsea loses this week. I wish, but of course, Manchester United is going through a rough patch, and I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will make some adjustments, and I'm sure in the later part of the season they will be a contender. Somehow that's how I feel about Manchester United. If I look at Manchester City, then they are a winner. They have got the taste of being a winner, and then they will always come back. They will always be there on the top. niggling at you on your feet, and then Chelsea. I'm I don't know why, but most of the neutral fans write off Chelsea when it comes to the competition in the top. They write off Chelsea, but Chelsea is a team that you cannot neglect. You cannot write off.
Underestimate.
Yeah, you cannot underestimate Chelsea. And then they have a top manager in Tuchel. And then Tuchel, in such a short span of time, he has, instilled that hope in the players of Chelsea, and then they are in the top
Without
now.
even signing any players. Like he won
Eh,
UCL without signing any players.
Uh,
Big feat.
yes.
He didn't sign
Excuse
any
me.
players.
Yes,
He
yes.
didn't sign any players, yeah.
Yeah, he with the same bunch of players, he has changed the way Chelsea have been playing so far. So I think the competitions at the end of the year will be Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, and I still believe that even though we are opponents, I still have a belief that Manchester United will come back, because that's what they do almost all the time. So
And what's your take on Champions League? Where do you see Liverpool in Champions League? Quarters, semis, finals?
Champions League has brought us heartbreaks, brought us joy, and it's up and down all the time. The current patch, we are running on a very good patch now. We were set as in a group of death. We were called the group that Liverpool were placed. It was called as a group of death, but we have topped the leg. We have topped the group, and then now we have to focus on. I think the focus by from our manager, from the fans, is to secure every cup. Even this last 2 seasons, Klopp was not much focused on domestic leagues. He wasn't much focused on domestics, but now this season I've seen that the Klopp is focusing much more on domestic leagues as well. So
I
if you
think
look at
last 2 seasons में एक vital चीज और थी, which was injuries. I think injuries also affected his focus on which competition he could pay
Van
more.
Dijk injured.
Van Dijk.
वो last season था. I think last season he pitched a young team with his second manager to in the domestic league. Now Champions League, we have topped the league. Now let's see what happens. But I don't think the way other teams of other leagues are going, they are also going through a rough patches. If you look at League One, if you look at Syria,
If you
and
look
if
at
you
Juventus, yeah,
Juventus, and then PSG or
Madrid and
PSG,
Barca, yeah.
yeah, and PSG, they are still still not sure where to use Messi, how to use Messi. They are still going through that time. So I think if you look at all those teams, top teams, I'm not undermining the other smaller teams, but if you look at the top teams of the top 5 leagues, Liverpool is the only team that is well set. They are well gelled. They are the same bunch of players that have been playing for 2, 3, 4 seasons together. So
True.
I think Liverpool, without any doubt, I think Liverpool is going to the final once again.
Finals. Wow, that's pretty optimistic. And
Optimistic.
congratulations to you for already qualifying for the knockout stages. Even I think you have 2 or 3 games to spare, and you were amongst the group of death, amongst the toughest
Tough
teams
one.
in the
Toughest
group
team,
stages. Yeah. So next question I have for you is, what was the fuss about Salah's contract? कि उसमें इतना time क्यों लगा और उसमें इतना build up था, इतना hype था, and everybody was talking about it. Of course, we are quite late on discussing this thing. I think he already did sign last week, right? His contract.
Mhm.
And इसमें क्यों इतना fuss हुआ, इतना delay हुआ, and what was Liverpool going through? What was Salah going through? We knew कहीं ना कहीं eventually he would sign, but why? That's what
बीच में
matters.
there were rumors also कि he wants to join Real Madrid.
Of course.
Yeah,
ऐसे
there
में.
were, there
So
were
what's your
rumors.
take on his contract?
Salah in many interviews have उसने बोला था कि जो भी decision है उसके ऊपर नहीं है. He wants to play for Liverpool for as long as he can, and he also said that he doesn't see him playing against any other. He doesn't see playing against Liverpool from in any other team. So उसका personal opinion तो वो बोल दिया कि वो लिवरपूल में खेलेंगे. But the
So he's
question,
loyal to the club.
yeah, he wants to play there. Yeah. Now the question was with his agent Isa, and then his agent and the owner of the Liverpool club. Now to make Salah as one of the highest paid player by Liverpool. Liverpool is not known to spend so much money on any player. If we overlook one or two players, Liverpool is not known to spend lots of money. And then to make Salah as one of the highest paid player, I think it took uh, his they took his years into consideration, because he is at his peak age now. And then if you extend him for another 5 years at a more wage, more at extra wage, I think after 5 years he might not give the same performance that he's giving now. And then we cannot see a player uh, with the highest wage on the team not able to perform week in week out. So there were some such kind of considerations that the owner of the club took. But I think this year,
not everybody is Ronaldo or Zlatan,
yeah,
of course.
not everyone can play till
और
14 like they're playing.
कहीं ना कहीं मैंने ये चीज भी पढ़ी थी रूमर्स को लेके. ऑफ कोर्स मतलब दोनों चीजें हैं. पहली ये कि कहीं ना कहीं जो इनके एजेंट्स होते हैं वो ये डिले करवाते हैं जिससे थोड़ा सा रूमर बिल्ड हो किसी और टीम के
हाँ.
साथ, एंड दे कुड गेट अ नाइस वेज इन देयर पॉकेट्स. कहीं ना कहीं ये चीज होती है. और एज अ फैन हमें लगता है बस यार मतलब ज्यादा टेक्निकल चीजें अगर हमें नहीं पता कि बस यार क्लब ऑफर करता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, ये साइन कर लेता है. बट अभी जो मेसी की सागा रही पूरा पीएसजी जाने, मेसी पीएसजी के
काफी
बाद,
चीजें.
तो उसमें कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी पता लगी कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी कितनी होती है, कितनी सारी चीजें इन्वॉल्व होती हैं. कि मतलब प्लेयर खेलना भी चाह रहा था टीम के लिए, अपनी वेजेस मैक्सिमम कट डाउन करके, उसके बाद भी नहीं हो पाया. तो बहुत सारी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी भी होती है, उसमें टाइम लग जाता है. सो आई मीन दैट्स माय टेक ऑन इट.
Yeah, that's true. मीनो रायोला अगर आप बात करें तो उसने कुछ चीजें ऐसी दिखा दी हैं लोगों को कि फुटबॉल इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट क्लब और प्लेयर. हाँ भाई, लेट्स साइन इट. और क्लब का मैनेजर, प्लेयर का मैनेजर इज नॉट जस्ट एक मैनेजर, बट इज फार मोर देन जस्ट अ मैनेजर. ही डज अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. और आजकल तो प्लेयर्स के पापा मम्मी बन जाते हैं मैनेजर्स, उनके एजेंट्स बन जाते हैं. तो gets to another level kabhi kabar to when you talk about contracts.
And I think it becomes very easy for any agent that is managing Salah to demand high wage at the way that Salah is performing.
Play.
So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, I think, I mean that's was my that's what my follow-up question is, but you go ahead.
Okay, so that's what I think the agent of Salah has been playing, because he knows that Liverpool cannot afford to lose him at the way
Exactly.
that he's playing. And then he also knows that FSG is not known to spend much money, but he was still trying to get out. Maybe he was trying to get off a little more than what he expects, more than what he can get. So I think that was where the negotiations were going on. And then I think it's in the past now. Salah has signed, and then we are happy. He has extended his contract. Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys have any questions? Because I have my one last question before we.
I have one.
Yes.
Just थोड़ा ऑफ बिट क्वेश्चन होगा ये. अभी recently Conte has arrived in EPL, English Premier League, and how do you feel that how can he create a threat to Liverpool?
Like a
Conte for
competition.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Yes, Antonio.
Do you
Conte.
even see them as
Spurs.
potential competitors against
Spurs,
Liverpool?
Spurs in English Premier League.
Spurs, but the manager itself has something in his mind. He can make a competitive. He can, like last year, Aston Villa beat Liverpool 8-2. So
Oh man, you don't have to mention that.
yes, so every manager can make a threat, can be a threat to the club. So that's why I would like to ask Moses that do you see him as a threat, or what how it is overall?
English Premier League being one of the toughest league in the European, one of the toughest, one of the most competitive league in the world, and in any league, it's like a marathon. It's not a race. And then
You're right. Yeah.
we lost, like you mentioned, we lost with that goal margin to Aston Villa last time, and then at the end, where was Aston Villa and where was Liverpool? So Antonio Conte, he is coming in with his reputation. He is coming in with the amount of managerial experience. He has been in the Premier League before. He knows how Premier League works. He knows how the atmosphere of the Premier League, the intensity that goes in each week. But now, if I look at Spurs, if I look at Antonio Conte, I have to look more at the players that Spurs have in their disposal. They have Kane, they have Son, and there are some players like Højbjerg. Højbjerg plays very well for his country.
He's a very
Very good player.
He plays
Yeah.
so well for his country, and at club level, he's not the same player. So, and if you look Son when he runs, when he's on a purple patch, he can do anything. He
Yeah,
can create
and
magic.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Moses, but one thing I would like to add, then I want you to respond to this, because Conte have already proven in the Premier League, he has already won the Premier League in the past when Klopp and Pep Guardiola were managers, when
Exactly.
they both were competing with their respective teams.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now we cannot compare that season to the season now. Like
True.
we
I
like
agree.
of course
uh,
not.
Yes,
now Klopp was in the building stage at that time. Klopp was still trying to build that 11 players that he wants to
Yeah,
play.
but that was Conte's first season.
yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was Conte's first season.
But then that was
That
Chelsea, and
too, Chelsea.
Chelsea had Conte playing so well, and
Kante
it
and
was
Hazard was
exceptional.
at his peak, and Diego
Yeah.
Costa. Wow.
Mhm.
And there's the difference. I mean, Kane is not even the best player is not even performing that well.
Mm.
So
Now that the Chelsea team Antonio Conte managed and the Spurs team that he's going to manage, how can we compare that same bunch of players to these two against these two teams? We cannot see Kante in Højbjerg. We cannot see Diego
No,
Costa
no,
in Ken.
never gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so he got into a very good team, Antonio Conte, in that season. But of course, as a manager, as a top class manager, he had to bring his philosophy, and then they made some changes in the team. But now, if you look at Spurs now, the players have lost hope. The way they play, I don't think that they want to play the way they are playing now, and they can be in the top table, mid table, maybe at the end of the season, the way they are going, unless they make some good signings, the way Conte wants to play his team, unless they make some players that he wants to sign in the new transfer window. With this same bunch of player, there cannot be much difference. There cannot be much improvement in the way they are playing.
So I really don't think that we can at this point. That's my personal opinion. I don't think that Conte can be compared to Conte's Spurs can be compared to Liverpool's, or they're going to even be close to them. मतलब कोई भी तरीके की फाइट मुझे नहीं लगता स्पर्स फिलहाल तो दे पाएगी. And that's how I want to conclude this video. I really think that Liverpool has a very good chance of winning again the Premier League. But Chelsea, they have to get, they have to walk over Chelsea to win it.
Even
So
Man
I really,
I think
yeah.
Gary Neville ने भी ये चीज point out करी थी कि he's not writing off Chelsea as a potential title winners because the जितनी depth Chelsea के पास है, जो amount of players हैं उनके पास bench पे भी, I think City और Liverpool के पास भी नहीं है वो. उसके
Yeah.
बाद the way they performed 10 men against Liverpool at Anfield was मतलब क्या ही कहने उसके तो. So I think you cannot write Chelsea off the list.
Yes, of course.
Of course. But then again, Liverpool has
ऐसा
a
I
team
think
that can
Moses
win
ने
the
जैसा
league.
इस चीज के बारे में कहा कि how Spurs have been performing. I just want to add this thing. Like I agree. और हमने पिछली वीडियो में चीज डिस्कस करा था कि प्लेयर्स की बॉडी लैंग्वेज से पता लग रहा था that they have given up. But वो अलग regime में था, तब नूनो थे, and I'm very optimistic. I'm backing up Conte. He will bring changes to Spurs and the team and the project. But let's come back to Liverpool, and I just have a final question before we wind up. कि जिस तरीके से साला ने अपना सीजन स्टार्ट करा, ही इज ऑन फायर, ही इज स्कोरिंग गोल्स लेफ्ट राइट एंड सेंटर, एंड द काइंड ऑफ गोल्स ही स्कोरिंग, आई मीन इस महीने के जो गोल ऑफ द मंथ नॉमिनी है उसमें 2 साला के गोल है, मतलब ही इज नॉट जस्ट स्कोरिंग टैप-इन्स, ही इज स्कोरिंग quality goals. I think he deserves the raise in wage which he got. और जब ये सारा डिलेमा चल रहा था कि उसको साइन करना है नहीं करना, करेगा साइन नहीं करेगा लिवरपूल के लिए, तब every other club was like he's the best player in the world right now. I mean I would say current form के हिसाब से he is on fire, he's the best player in the world right now. So Moses, what do you have to say on it?
Yes, he is the best player at the moment right now. And then what can I say about Salah and what can I say about his ties
Yeah, I
with the
think
team?
his work is speaking for his performance is
Yeah.
speaking for himself. Yeah.
He doesn't speak much in the interviews. He doesn't tell his opinions much, and then he's like a shy type kind of person. And then, but when he talks on the field, and then with him without injury, without any setbacks to Salah, Liverpool I think
He's
is
unstoppable.
fine. Is unstoppable. But let me add one more thing. Last year, Salah was also in a good form. He was also in a good form. He was scoring goals. But the main problem has always been at the back of our team,
Yep.
the defense. So even if the front three is going gun blazing at the front, but if the defense at the back is not locked tight,
Allison was
Liverpool
making lots of mistakes as well, like stupid, silly mistakes.
has silly mistakes. And this time we have seen Van Dijk is not fully fit. It's not the same Van Dijk that we have seen the way he was playing before the injury. So he's still not 100% fit. And there have been so many occasions where Alisson had to make that big saves. So defense, we are still unsure. And midfield, due to the injuries that we have had, all the injuries last year it was defense. This year all the injuries are with the midfielders. So defense we are set. Defense we are still not very set. So we cannot say that we are still 100% as a team.
Yeah,
So that's my take on Liverpool FC.
sure. All right then, that was it for today, and it was wonderful having you on our channel, Moses, on this video. You're our first guest, and I hope we'll be talking a lot about Liverpool, and I hope Liverpool. Actually, I don't want that, but you're a fan, so my good wishes are with Liverpool
Thank you.
and Klopp, and thank
And
you
one
for
thing
being on the
is
show
for
once
sure
again.
that you'll never walk alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm saying one thing is for sure, you'll never walk alone.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for
maybe
having
we'll
me.
have a chat again. We'll invite you again some other time. And I think that's it for the video. It was our pleasure to have you here, and I wish we could talk and talk, and this talk would never end because we are a bunch of mad lads about football. And that's it, guys. That's it for the video. See you next time. Till then, have a safe and happy Diwali. Have fun and keep
Ciao,
watching.
ciao.
See you.
Adios, amigos.
Adios, Amit.